now it's recording, sir.
చూపిస్తున్నాను ఒకసారి హ్యాండ్ ఓవర్ చేయడానికి. రమేష్ కుమార్. Sir, hand over, Ramesh Kumar sir. I hand over to you.
So can I share the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can share.
You can share, sir.
For better understanding, please participants mute all of you. Okay.
Request Swati ma'am also, please ma'am.
I request
Of
you to
video ma'am.
please mute audio systems.
Swati ma'am.
Ramesh sir, otherwise unmute all you, sir.
You can mute all, sir. Girish sir, from your side.
Ramesh sir.
Ma'am, participants, please switch off your videos also, ma'am.
So can I start, sir?
Yes, sir. You can
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity, especially Dr. Girish. So actually, he's one of my best friend. Once again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So basically, I am Ramesh Kumar, Dr. V. Ramesh Kumar. I completed my PhD from IIT Roorkee. While doing my PhD, my basic research area is something like VLSI nano interconnections. There I have worked on some carbon nanotube interconnections and their modeling. And after that, so I shifted my gaze towards some digital design. Okay, that work is still continuing, but this is my different area. This work I started actually of my own. So in this field, we are trying to designing some ternary logic gates using futuristic nano devices. Basically, in the class we have teach some digital electronics, which is having the binary logic. But here, as an advanced stage, we are trying to designing digital design using the ternary logic, where the logic is having 3 levels. Okay. So first, let me discuss about the ternary logic. After that, we will try to see what type of devices we are using for designing of these logic gates. So I will give the brief introduction about the ternary logic now. And this is my brief presentation outline. So first I will explain what is the ternary logic. Okay. So then I will use some devices like carbon nanotube field effect transistors and graphene nano ribbon field effect transistors. And using these devices, and we will try to design the ternary logic gates. So how to go to the next slide, sir? It is not going.
Maybe I've used some cursors there.
It is not moving.
Again, go for the share screen and you can share the PPT, sir. No issue. Again, go for the share screen option.
Yeah, thank you. So let us start with the conventional digital signal, which is a binary logic having 2 different levels. as of you know, it is having 0 and 1 only, right? So 0 means a logic 0 volts and 1 means a VDD. It is a full signal. This is something like a binary signal. If you want to design a circuit, universal as a universal case, you can take a CMOS inverter. If you design an inverter in binary logic, what you will do generally, you will apply input 0, so where the output is inverted, and if you apply input is VDD, so you will get a 0. So there is only two levels here, 0 and VDD, and output is also a two-level signal. So it is basically a binary signal. Suppose as a case study, if you want to store a data of 12, decimal number 12 in binary logic, we will store it as something like 1100, right? So this is 2 power 0 here, this is 2 power 1, this is 2 power 2, and this is 2 power 3. Something like 8 plus 4, which is equal to 12. Okay. So what we observe that if you want to store a 12 here, you need a 4-bit data, something like 1100. Okay. So this is an example, and this inverter, you know it very well. Huh? We no need to discuss it again. Somebody is not in the VLSI field, we can say that if you apply a input is 0 here, the PMOS is on and NMOS is off. So you will get a VDD here. And if you apply a VDD at the input side, the NMOS is on and PMOS is off. So you will get a 0 here. So it is a basic operation of a digital CMOS inverter that we have teach this one in the class. Okay, so next let me introduce about the ternary logic and what is the new thing that we are doing. Let me discuss about that. So in ternary logic, basically we are having 3 different levels, right? As different to the previous one, we are now having 3 different levels: logic 0, logic 1, and logic 2. Okay, what about this third different means? It is something like half of the VDD value. Previously, we have taken only the 0 and VDD, which is logic 0 and logic 1. Now we have using 3 different values: 0, 1, and 2, where 1 means half of the VDD, and the logic 2 means full VDD. So these are the 3 different levels now we are going to use. Okay, and what is the advantage of using the 3 different levels? You can see this one. Okay, as a case study, you can see this one. Suppose if you want to store the data of 12 again, okay. So previously, how we have stored the 12, we have used for a 4-bit data, which is 1100. Okay. And now if you want to store a decimal number 12, the data is represented as something like 110. Okay. So 12 is represented as 110 in ternary logic. So there we have only a 3-bit. Means we are saving the memory. You can see the generalized statement like this. Using the small memory chip size, we can store large information. Okay. So it means that we are saving the chip area, we are saving the interconnect complexity. So everything will be saved. Okay. So that is the main thing. That's why we are going for ternary logics. Okay. So now we can see the signal also. Signal is having 3 different levels: logic 0, logic 1, and logic 2. So where logic 1 means half of VDD and logic 2 means full VDD. Okay. And if you want to design an inverter here, you can. It seems to be a digital inverter only, but it was somewhat different. We will see this one later very clearly. But right now, you please see the circuit is like this only, where the input may be a 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So output, what is the output you will get? You will get a something like 220. You can see the second table on the right corner. So the input combinations are 0, 1, and 2. The output you will get is 2, 2, and 0. Okay. The detailed operation I will explain later. Okay. But you please assume that here the possibility of input combination can be a 0, 1, 2. Okay. Output is 2, 2, 0. So it is called a positive ternary inverter. So the detailed operation we will see it later. And this is some ternary algebra, you can say. Okay. So this is the case study that I have taken previously. If I want to represent a 12, what we will do, we will go for a long division method. Using that long division method, we will write the 12 as 1100. Similarly, in ternary logic, the 12 is represented as 110 only. It is only a 3-bit data. Okay. And reverse also you can do. So you can convert the 1100 into a decimal number by adding the position weights. It is represented at 12. And similarly here, 110 by adding their position weights, since it is a base 3 number, we have to add 3 power 0, 3 power 1 and 3 power. The same 12 we will get. So using less memory size, we can store more information. Or you can see the one of the advantage of ternary logic like this also. Suppose there are 2 lines are going from source to drain. The different possibilities we can transmit in digital is 00, 01, 10, 11, 4 combinations. But in ternary, what we can say, there are 9 combinations. There are 9 different type of inputs you can transmit. So that is also one of the advantage. And if you're having any queries here, basic understanding, you can raise a comment. Okay, I'm happy to answer your queries. Now you see the inverters that are existing in the ternary logic. Basically, in binary logic, we are having only a single inverter. There is no different inverters. A single inverter would produce the inversion of the input. Whereas in ternary logic, so there are 3 different type of inverters exist. Okay. So let me explain these 3 so that you can understand. So the input combination may be a 0, 1, 2. Any of the value, maybe 0, 1 and 2. So these are the 3 different possibilities where we get. Okay. So you may get a 2, 1, 0 combination at the output. You may get 2, 2, 0 combination at the output. You may get 2, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 2, 0. So these are only 3 possibilities. Okay. And there is no 4th possibility that occur in ternary logic. That's why we restricted only to design these 3 logic gates. Okay. So you can check these things. Suppose if you are going for something like a 1, 2, 0 combination, it is not existing. Basically, then the output must be go from high to low. Okay, so input is going from low to high. So 0, 1, 2. As an inverter, the output must be high to low. While going from high to low, these are the 3 different combinations. Okay, this is not a high to low combination. So 1, 2, 0 you cannot get. Or something like 2, 1, 2 you cannot get. Why? Because this is high value, this is low value, and again this is high value. So these combinations will not exist. Only these 3 combinations exist. So that's why we named it as 3 different type of inverters exist in ternary. One is standard ternary logic, and second one is negative ternary logic, and the third one is positive ternary logic. So these are the 3 different inverters exist in the ternary logic, and there is no 4th combination. If there is any 4th combination, we can design that combination of your own, but it will not exist. You can see the logic here. There is no 4th combination. Okay. So here there is a problem. Whenever I am using this marker, this is not going to the next slide.
Please remove the sketches, then you can able to.
Press escape, sir.
So I have to remove these sketches. It is not going to the next slide. Even I am using the escape also, it is not going. So again I have to leave the screen and okay. Using the mouse it is moving, sir. We have to note this point also. Using the mouse it is moving. So this is about the inverters of ternary logic, and we can see some complex logic gates also. You can understand at the same level. You can see the complex logic gates. Okay. Like AND gate, NAND gate, NOR gate, OR gate. So these logics also we can understand at the same level. Basically, if somebody asks me what is the functionality of AND gate, I will explain like that. It is the minimum of A comma B, whether it is a binary or ternary. Just I will say that it is a minimum of A comma B. Suppose in a binary logic, if we apply a 0 comma 1 to a AND gate, what is the output means? I will explain that you take the minimum of A and B. Okay. And what is OR? I will explain that it is the maximum of A comma B. So I will say like that. Okay. I don't say that for 1 AND gate output produce the value of 1. For remaining combinations, the output is 0. I don't want to speak like that. Simply I will say it is a minimum of A comma B AND operation, and OR operation is maximum of A comma B. So the same principle you will apply here. You can see how you will get this table. Okay. So how we will get the AND gate table means it is the minimum of A comma B. So this is the A input and B input. So ternary AND gate, how we will produce? You take the minimum of A comma B. Okay. So that you will get the AND gate output. Then what about this one, OR gate? You take the maximum of A comma B. So you take the maximum number, so that you will get the OR gate function. And NAND and NOR is the inverters of AND and OR respectively. Okay. Which inverter means it is a standard ternary inverter, not the PTA and NTA. You have to consider the standard ternary inverter. As a case study, you can see that for NAND operation, I am checking. AND gate output is 0, then NAND gate will produce the output of 2. Okay. So 0 it will produce 2. 1 it will produce the 1. Okay. And 2 it will produce the 0. So this thing you have seen in the previous slide. For 0, 1, 2, for 0, 1, 2, the output is 2, 1, 0. So it is just a standard ternary inverter combination, NAND gate. And NOR gate is also a standard ternary inverter combination of OR. Okay. So those who are actually interested on some digital logics and VHDL, Verilog, so what they will do that they will instead of doing the conventional binary logics, you can go for the ternary logic designs. Okay, we can design the transistors, we can design the logic gates, memories, flip-flops, counters. Those things you can try it in ternary logic. Still, the people are accepting the papers in ternary logic, so that you can try these things in order to publish your papers very easily. So.
Close the annotation and move the screen.
What, sir?
Close the annotation and move the screen. Then you can,
Annotation. Okay. So I have to erase these ones. So let me erase these things. So this is again reflecting in the next slide. So okay. So we completed the inverters.
your screen is not shared, sir.
Screen is not shared. Now is it okay? Okay. So we completed the ternary inverters and then ternary logic gates, and now we move on to some more complex gates, something like half adder. Okay. So how to design the half adder in ternary logic gate? Designing is different, and we will try to understand what is the functionality of half adder in ternary logic. Okay. So I'm trying to explain how to do the calculations in ternary logic first. Okay, and then we will go for the designing later. Okay. Designing is a different issue. Let me understand what is meant by how to do the operations of ternary logic. Okay, for half adder you can say, so A and B are the inputs, and sum and carry is the output. Okay. So you simply add A and B. Okay. So if you take a 0, 2, what you will get, the sum is 2 and carry is 0. And if you take a 2, 1, if you add a 2 plus 1, what you will get? You will get a 3, decimal number 3. So how to represent a decimal number 3 in ternary? So you simply write it is a 1, 0, okay, where 1 is the carry and 0 is the sum. You can see the position weights. This is 3 power 0, carry is 3 power 0. And sum is 3 power 0 and carry is 3 power 1. So that you will get a 3 here. And for the last one, 2, 2. So 2 plus 2, basically it is a 4. So how to write a 4 in ternary? It is a 1, 1. So that's why the sum is 1 and carry is 1. Okay. So this is the truth table of half adder, you can say. And this is the Karman map. You can see a K map. Having the possibility of 0, 1, 2 and 0, 1, 2 here. The output may be a 1 and 2 for different values of input combination. For carry also, you can draw the Karman map where the maximum possibility is 1. Only for these 3 cases. Remaining cases, it will produce the 0 only. Okay. So this is the K map for sum and carry. If you want to write down the equation for sum here, for binary logic, what we will write? You will simply write A XOR B, something like A B bar plus A bar B. And similarly, in ternary logic, what you will write? First, you will try to write the combinations of 2. Okay. So what are the possibilities of getting 2 here? So one possibility is A2 and B0. What is where it is 1? A2 and B0, this one. Okay. So you can observe that this one, A2, B0. It is the one possibility of getting 2. And next possibility is A1, B1. Where it is? This one. Right. And the third possibility is A0, B2. So these are the 3 possibilities of getting 2. And next, the possibility of getting 1, we have to write separately. So these are the 3 different possibilities of getting 1. You can check the table. Okay, you can check the table so that it can be explicitly represented. There is nothing is no need to explain for people like you. We have very well over the digital electronics. So this is the 3 possibility of getting 1, and these are the 3 possibility of getting 2. Okay. So for carry, there is no getting 2 possibility. So there is only getting a 1 possibility of these 3 combinations. So this is the expression for sum, and this is the expression for carry. So like this, we have to write the expressions for sum and carry in ternary logic.
So this is for minimized expression. So this is final.
Minimization is something like grouping we have to do. So,
Yes, sir.
Grouping.
Can't we do
these are not the adjacent cells, right?
Okay, sir.
So this one, this 2, this one, they are not the adjacent cells. Okay. So minimization we can't do here. Maybe some special cases, if there is a 2 here, then we will go for the minimization. But here, these are not minimizations. These cannot be minimized. Is it okay?
Sir, can you take one example so that how to minimize?
Minimization. There is literals. There is one paper. I can tell you one paper that is called minimum literals. How to use minimum literals in ternary logic. There they have used some rules here.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So what you can see here, there are 2 ones here which are there in adjacent.
Okay, sir.
For carry case, you can see this one and this one, they are in they are adjacent cells. You can see this one, right? But we are not doing any minimization here. You can see this one
Yes,
and
sir.
one.
Yes, sir.
But we are not going for the grouping actually. Okay, so that is the difference basically between the binary and ternary. So for minimization, what we will generally follow, that we will go for the minimum literals. There is some rules here also, like in Boolean algebra, what you will write a bar plus ab. Suppose there is a function like a bar plus ab, we will simply write it is a bar plus b, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is basically a distribution law.
A plus a bar into a plus b. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So like this also in ternary logic also some rules are there. So they are called minimum literals rules. You can go through that paper. You can search.
Okay,
in
sir. I
Google.
will go through it. I will go through it, sir.
So
Thank you, sir.
using those rules, we can minimize the function.
Okay,
But
thank
here
you so
we
much.
are not doing the minimization. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that is about the logic gates. We started with basically inverters, and then we have explained the basic gates and NAND, NOR, OR, and then we have also discussed the adders. Okay, now we have aware of the ternary logic algebra at least. Okay, now we can see the advantage of ternary logic here. So these are the advantages of ternary logic. They are simply and efficient. It requires very less memory size that you have seen practically by considering the example of call. Using the ternary logic, we can reduce the chip area. Okay, and it requires minimum less number of interconnections, and they are having high bandwidth and they high potential for increasing computational complexity.
Sir, is there any disadvantages are there?
Yeah, sure. If you go for a NAND gate, simply in digital electronics, you need only a 4 transistors, 2 PMOS and 2 NMOS.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But here, if you see the NAND gate combination, it is somewhat very typical, very difficult to design actually. So that thing we will see in the designing part, how to design the logic gates. If you try to understand those things, you may feel definitely difficult.
Okay, sir.
The circuit designing is very difficult.
Okay,
because
sir.
we have to handle 3 different combinations. Okay, this is a different one. Let me end that one. So that is about the ternary algebra. Now we'll go for the device part.
Okay, thank you.
Now we will discuss about some graphene materials. So using graphene materials, we will try to using some futuristic nano devices like CNT-FET and GNR-FET. So let me discuss about the graphene. So these are some properties of graphene. Their mechanical strength is very strong. Even they are 10 times stronger than steel. Okay. Optical properties are very good. The transmission ratio is 97.7%. So they are ideally used for the optical interconnections and all those things also. You can see the electrical property. The electron mobility is very high. It is very much. If you can compare the mobility between the copper and graphene, we can see that it is only 10 power 5 centimeters square per volt second in copper, and where it is only 10 power 3 in copper. It is, we can say, almost 100 times faster than conventional copper material. It is having the large current densities. It is having 10 power 9, and copper is only 10 power 7. So you don't get any electromigration effect here if you use the graphene as interconnection. And thermal properties are also very good. These are some major areas where the graphene is using. We can go for a transistor design. Even we can design 1 nanometer.
What is the resistivity of graphene, sir?
Resistivity of graphene. So basically, it is not a fixed value. It depends on the shape of the graphene. You can use the graphene as a metal and as a semiconductor. As a metal case, it is very less. As a semiconductor case, it is very high.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't place the resistivity value here.
Sir, if it is in metal condition, then what is the value?
If it is a metal condition, the resistivity is low. If it is a semiconductor condition, it is high value. So that's why I didn't place that resistivity here. But I will explain those things also.
Yeah.
Using some energy band diagrams, I will explain how it will behave as metal and semiconductor. Those things I will explain.
Okay.
And these are some applications. You can design super small transistors, high frequency electronic devices, on-chip interconnections, 3D interconnections. You can use in different areas of VLSI. You can see the structure of graphene. It is a two-dimensional structure. You can see there is a sheet placed on a table. You can say, which is a two-dimensional. Okay, so there is a sheet, and if we confine the structure only in the highlighted part, okay, so this is the confined structure, highlighted one, green one. So if we confine the structure, what will happen? You will get a sheet like this, okay, where the edge is seems to be a zigzag pattern. You can see the edge, okay. You can see the edge. The edge is something like look like this. If we confine the structure like a zigzag pattern, it is called zigzag GNR. The name is zigzag. If we confine the structure in different pattern where the edge is something like an armchair. Now we can see this is one GNR having the edge shape is look like this. Okay. You can see the edge shape. It is something like a armchair. This is one type of GNR and this is second type of GNR. So this GNR is acting as a metal and this GNR is acting as a semiconductor or metal, both. Okay. This is one of the remarkable property for graphenes. They can be used as a semiconductor and metal both. Okay. If it is an armchair, if it is a zigzag, then it will always act as a metal. There is a condition for this one armchair, and I will discuss that condition later. But you please remember that zigzag GNRs are metal and armchair GNRs are semiconductor or metals. So I will go for the next slide. Now we will discuss here in detail. So now I have taken a armchair GNR here. This one, this is armchair GNR, right? So the edge is a armchair, and here I have taken a zigzag where the edge is a zigzag. If you draw the EK diagram of an armchair GNR, this is the EK diagram of this armchair GNR, the top one. This is the EK diagram, and this is the pattern of GNR. The edge is armchair only, and this is the EK diagram. What you understand that the conduction band and valency band, they are touching each other. There is no forbidden band actually. You can see this one here. There is no forbidden band, so it is acting as a metal. Okay, and you take another armchair GNR. This is also a armchair GNR. Okay, this is also a armchair GNR. Let me discuss. Wait. The pointer is missed actually. So this is also armchair GNR. You can see there is a forbidden band. Okay, there is a forbidden band between the conduction band and valency band. So there is a gap here. So it is basically a semiconductor. Okay, so the same armchair GNR, one case it is acting as a metal, and one case it is acting as a semiconductor. Okay, this is the property that we found basically. Okay, so how you decide? How you know the given armchair GNR is metal or semiconductor? So what you will do that you count the number of atoms across the edge. Okay, here if you count the number of atoms across the edge here, so how many atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there are 7 atoms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me write down the number here. There are 7 atoms across the edge here, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. So there are 11. There are 11 atoms here, and there are 7 atoms here on the edge. Okay. So as a universal rule, there is a factor like this, 3p plus 2. If the atoms across the edge are something like 3p plus 2, where p is an integer, then the GNR is act like a metal. If not, then the GNR is act like a semiconductor. Okay. There is a principle like this. So using mathematical and using simulations, and using both the cases, we have validated these things. And what you found that if the atoms across the edge are 3p plus 2 number, then it is acting as a metal. And if it is not 3p plus 2, like 7, like 6. Okay, so any value not the multiple of 3p plus 2, then it is acting as a semiconductor. So this is the thing that we found in armchair GNRs. But zigzag, independent on the any value of the atoms across the edge, it is acting as a metal only. So this is the key point that we observed basically. Okay. So what happened means what is the advantage of doing these things means you can design the interconnection, you can design the device using the same material, right? For designing the device, basically you need a semiconductor. For designing the interconnection, basically you need a metal. So in a conventional chip design, we will use a silicon as a semiconductor and we will use a copper as a metal. Okay, two different materials we are handling. But if you go for the graphene-based integrated circuits, the device and interconnection can be fabricated using the armchair GNR itself. Okay, you no need to use another material. So that is the one of the advantages. And the next type of device is something like carbon nanotube. And the previous one is graphene nanoribbon GNR, and this is graphene nanotube, where it is a rolled sheet of graphene. You can visualize like that. Okay, we cannot roll it physically; it is not possible. They are having the dimensions of 1 nanometer. We cannot roll it physically. They will grow like a tubes only, but as a visualization, you can see it is a rolled structure of graphene. Okay. So what we will get means let me roll this one. If you roll the figure A, okay, you take figure A, and you roll it. You roll the sheet on W axis. Okay. You hold the sheet on W axis from this to this. Okay, like this. So what shape you will get means you take an armchair GNR and you roll it like this. What you will get a zigzag CNT. Okay, so that's why the names will be confusing for the people who started the work in CNT. They mostly confused about these things only. So I'm saying again, this is basically a armchair GNR. This is very well known. You know the shape here. It is a armchair shape. But what happens is that if you roll the armchair GNR, okay, on W axis, you will get a zigzag CNT. And similarly, if you take a zigzag GNR and you roll the zigzag GNR on W axis, what you will get? You will get a armchair CNT. Okay. So a zigzag GNR is metal. Therefore, a armchair CNT is a metal. Okay. So like this we have to understand. Okay. So let me show me the shape of CNTs also. You please note this point. This is a zigzag CNR is a metal. And if you see the CNT structure, now here the armchair CNT is a metal.
Yes.
Why the reason I explained that. So I also take too many days to understand the operation of these things, but later I understand like this. Okay, so this is a zigzag GNR metal, and this is a armchair CNT is a metal, and here zigzag CNT is a semi-metallic. You can say semi-metallic, and here armchair GNR is a semi-metallic. So like this we will follow, and this is a chiral. It means that it is not either zigzag or armchair. It is in between. And these are the advantage of CNTs. Maybe we can read these things. That's why people are going to use the CNT field effect transistor. And this is the structure. Let me explain this one now. The conventional MOS structure, maybe you know it, all of you know. There is a source region here. Let me take the annotation. There is a source contact here, and there is a drain contact. Okay, what is this one? These are the metal contacts. Okay, this is source and this is drain, and this one is the channel, the gray one. It is the channel. means it is a semiconducting material. Okay, so the electrons wants to travel from battery negative source to battery positive. Okay, so the electron wants to move from source to drain through the channel. So
Sir, please.
So there is a gate contact here, means it is acting as a switch. Using the gate control, we can either flow these transistors or you can stop these transistors. It is acting as a switch. Okay, so actually basically the gate will do, it will move the conduction bands either upward direction or downward direction. And please remember that here there is no p-type and there is no n-type materials in CNT. Basically what we will do, we will apply a gate negative for p-type devices. For n-type devices, we will apply a gate is positive, where the conduction is due to electrons. If gate is positive, if gate is negative, the conduction is due to holes. That's it. Okay, so it is basically neither nor P. It depends on the gate voltage. So the blue one is the silicon dioxide insulating layer. Like this, we will design the CNT FETs. Okay. Here, any doubts you can raise.
Sir, Ramesh, sir.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Sir, actually, normal transistor will use silicon material. The channel is also silicon, sir, N-type or P-type.
Yeah.
Here, the channel is CNT tube, sir,
yes.
actually.
Yes.
Sir, how this crystalline structure of silicon and CNT will be formed, sir, mixed? Is there any mechanism is there, sir? Crystalline structure. Because crystalline structure may be different, sir. Silicon
that is bulk
CNT.
device. Bulk device is different. Nano devices are different. That crystalline structures are basically bulk devices. Bulk devices, electron conduction is different. And here, in nano devices, the electron conduction is due to the energy bands, basically. This is a nano device. It is not a crystalline structure. It is not a bulk device.
Okay, crystalline structure will not
be. It is not a crystalline structure. It is a
okay,
nano
sir.
structure.
Okay, sir. How the mechanism that is means silicon material is there, substrate and channel is that.
Basically, we apply a battery negative at the source, right? Okay. And we will connect a battery positive at the drain. There is a shift in the electrochemical potentials. Okay. Electron wants to jump from source to drain. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in between, what we have to create? We have to create a channel. You can see the energy band diagram. Let me draw. There is a energy level here, electron energy level here at the source side.
Okay, sir.
And there is the electron energy level at the drain side, which is on the bottom. So you can say this is the electron level at the drain side, and this is the electron level at the source side. Okay. So they are at high energy. These are the electrons at the high energy. And these electrons wants to jump from source to drain. But there is a barrier here. This is a barrier. Okay. So in this barrier, what you have to create? You have to create a channel. Right? It means that
okay,
if you create some conducting channels like this, like two channels if we create, what will happen? These electrons will jump from this to this channel, and then it will jump to the drain region. Okay. So it is a bridge, right? The mechanism is completely different. Where we have creating some inversion regions, accumulation regions, right? In conventional MOS.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But here you can see the principles are different. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now the electron wants to jump from this to this band and then this to this band. Just our job is to create the bands here.
Yes, sir. Most of the papers they written that only channel is replaced with CNT. They are saying the structure is same, the operation is same. Like that, I read in literature, sir. That's why I'm asking.
No, it is not like that.
Okay.
Basically, we are creating the channels here in the forbidden band. We are creating the channels. This is also the same. This is also a CNT, and this is also a CNT.
Okay, sir.
If you need a low resistivity metal, then what you will go for? You will do the doping. Okay, you will do the impurity doping at the source and drain region so that you can get some strong contact with the metal. That's it. Okay.
So what is the conduction?
There is no insulating layer here also. Their metal is directly connected to the CNT here.
CNT. Okay, sir. Okay. What is the conduction mechanism, sir? Here, CNT.
See, it is a semiconductor, right? So there is a energy level in the conduction band, and there is the energy level in the valency band. Okay, and this is called forbidden band.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have seen this forbidden band, right? Okay, so suppose the bands are like this. Okay, suppose the bands are like this. Even though you have applied the battery negative here, battery positive here, in the vicinity of this region, is there any energy band? Is there any energy band here? No, there is no energy band, right? It is empty space. It is forbidden band in the channel. Why? Because this is the electron conduction band and this is the electron valency band, right? So now the current is zero. The switch is off. You understand? No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now what we will do? You will apply some voltage to the gate and you move this conduction band in the vicinity of this region. Okay. Either you shift this energy band to the downward or you shift the energy band to the upward. Okay. So that
Okay, sir.
the modified energy bands will be look like this. Now what happened? The energy bands are shifted to the downward, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now again there is a forbidden band. Still it is acting as a semiconductor only. The channel is acting as a semiconductor only. But in the vicinity of this region, we have seen a energy band, right? So now what we'll do? The electron will jump to this band and then it will jump to this band.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
It means that
Okay,
there is a current conduction.
Okay, sir.
So, but where you learn these things means they're not written in the books actually, but using the research papers only, we have to understand the operation of this CNT.
Can you provide one literature paper, sir? At the end of the session, sir.
I will provide, but you don't see these things in the literature. They don't explain clearly like this.
Okay, sir. Okay,
In the textbooks also, but you didn't see. But I will share some videos.
If possible, provide, sir, please.
All of the participants, please post your questions at the end of the session. Okay.
Any questions, you please post it.
Please post it.
Okay.
Try to post it.
Okay, and what you have seen, there is a one conduction CNT channel between the source and drain. If the current conduction is not sufficient, if you want to increase the current conduction, what you will do? You will go for multiple CNT cells. Here we have placed the 3 cells. In order to increase the conductivity, we have placed the 3 cells. Okay, like this we will increase the current conduction. In MOSFET, what we will do? We will just increase the W value, channel width. Here also we will increase the number of CNT channels. Like this we will increase. And this is the important one. And what we observe that, let me highlight this one. Let me highlight this equation. Okay. Using some mathematical calculations, what we observe that the threshold voltage of the device is inversely proportionality of the diameter, CNT diameter. This is the thing that we have observed. And the same thing we have seen in the simulations also. Okay. So if we increase the diameter of the CNT, the threshold voltage will be decreased. This point we have seen in mathematics and the simulations also. This point we have seen. Okay, you can see this one. We have drawn some VI characteristics of CNT, and what we observe that if we change the value of n, where n means chirality index, or you can say n is directly proportionality of the diameter. Okay. Let me take a annotation. Okay. It is not taken actually. Okay, now you see. If you increase the value of n, or you can say if you increase the value of diameter, CNT diameter, what you observe that the curves are shifting. Okay. This is the small diameter, this is the large diameter, and we observe that basically the threshold voltages are shifting. For n is equal to 10, the threshold voltage is something like 0.55. For n is equal to 19, the threshold voltage is near equal to 0.02. Okay. So by changing the diameter, we can change the threshold voltage. This is the important property that we observe. by using this property only, we are able to design the CNT FETs. This one we will see now. We have created a table also between the value of N and threshold voltage. I will show you the table. Okay. Before that, we will see some fabrication images of CNT FET. So, following this procedure, we will fabricate the CNT FETs. Okay, you can see here the CNTs are growing. Here the CNTs are growing like this. Okay, so like this we can fabricate the CNT FET, and I will show you some SCM images also. Okay, yeah. These are the voids actually. After the etching, these regions will be created. So you can see these are the CNTs which are grown. This is the top view. Okay, so these are the CNTs. Okay, using the probe method, we can calculate the VI characteristics, and this is the point where they have considered the top circumference, and you can see the CNTs are growing like this also. Okay. Some closed view of carbon nanotube bundles. You can see, and the multiple walled carbon nanotube having multiple shells in the circumference can also be visualized here. Okay, so you can see on the right side, bottom one, this one. This is the multiple carbon nanotube, MWCNT. So where the shells are concentrically rolled up graphene sheets. Okay, so this is the outermost shell, this one, and this is the innermost shell. So these are the multiple shells. Okay, so the MWCNT is like this also. We can fabricate, and the SWCNT it is having a single shell. This is shell 1, shell 2, shell 3. So these are the different shells, which is called single wall, and this is the multiple wall, where the multiple shells are concentrically rolled. Like this CNTs also we can have. And now we will try to conclude the things. Initially, we have learned about the ternary logic algebra, how to do the ternary calculations. What are the inverters that we have to design in ternary logic gates? How to do the NAND function, half adders, those things we have seen. And next we have seen some devices like CNT FET, and we have observed an important property, which is that by changing the diameter, we can change the threshold voltage, right? So by using those things, we will go for the design methodology now. Let me discuss about the positive ternary inverter. Okay. Okay, positive ternary inverter, where the input is 0, 1, 2. So input is 0, 1, 2, output is 2 to 0. Okay, and this is the chart table that we have designed using some simulations. Okay, so for different values of N, and this is the different values of diameter, and this is the threshold voltage value. You can see if increase in the diameter, if diameter is increases, the threshold voltage decreases. Okay, the same using the mathematical equations also we are getting the same values, and simulations also we are getting the same values. So using the input combination of 0, 1, 2, we have to get a 2 to 0 here. Okay, for this one we have to design a circuit. How you can design a circuit? You try to discuss this one. Okay, so if input is 0, the PMOS is on and the NMOS is off. So you will get a 2 here. That is the first thing. So this is verified. And next, let me explain the second one. If the input is 1 means VDD is we have taken it is 0.9. So 1 means it is 0.45, half of the VDD. Okay. Suppose the input is 0.45. What about the PMOS? The PMOS is on. Okay. Why? Because it is 0.29. And the NMOS is off. So for 1, again you will get a 2. So this is also verified. Okay. So done. And the last one for input is 2. Input is 2 means 0.9 volt. Okay. For 0.9 volt, the NMOS is off. Sorry, the PMOS is off and the NMOS is on. So what you will get? You will get a 0. So this two table is for verifying for the circuit. So this is basically a positive ternary inverter. And the most surprisingly, if you see the NTA circuit, okay, let me show you the NTA circuit. It will look like this only. This is about the PTA. Maybe you know when the PMOS is on, when the NMOS is on. So this is about
Sorry
the
to
PTA.
disturb you, sir.
Yeah,
Archana ma'am, please mute audio system. Archana ma'am. Archana ma'am, please mute audio.
Tell me, sir.
Sir, you can unmute, sir. Ramesh, sir, you can unmute everyone. Your option.
Ramesh sir, you can mute all, sir. Akkada untadu option.
Mute all.
Yeah, you can mute all.
Yeah. So any queries, you just write down the heading to slide number 26 and you write down your comment. I will address the comment at the end of the session.
Okay.
Just write down the slide number 26. If you have any queries, you just write. So the surprising thing that I'm trying to discuss that this is the PTA inverter. If you are going to design the NTA inverter, that is also the same. This is NTA inverter, same. Okay. So you can see there is a P and N combination, and here also there is a P and N combination same. But the only difference is we are playing the game with the threshold voltage. Okay. We are altering the threshold voltages. So here for PTI, the threshold voltage is minus 2.5, 2.9, and this is 0.55 for NMOS. And in NTI, you can see the values will be shifted. You can see that one. This is about the NTI. You can see now it is minus 0.55 and it is 0.29. It is shifted actually. Okay. So basically, what you required a device where you are having the ability to control the threshold voltage very easily. But in conventional MOSFET, what we found, the threshold values are fixed. For a single technology node, the threshold values are fixed. So we cannot use that conventional MOSFETs for ternary logic design. Why? Because we have the capability to change the threshold voltage. But in MOSFET, it is not possible. That's why we have to look for some new type of devices like CNT FET, GNR FET, like that. But let me explain the operation of this one also, where the input is 0, 1, 2, output is 2 to 0. First, let me take this case. Okay, input is 0, this is on and this is off. Okay, so you'll get a 2. So this is fine. And next, for input is 1, means 0.45. For input is 0.45 volt, this is off basically. Why? Because the threshold voltage is minus 0.5, and this is on. Above the threshold voltage, input is above the threshold voltage, so this is on. So now we will get a 0. For 1, we are getting a 0 here. Okay. For PTI, what you are getting? For 1, we are getting a 2. Okay. If you remember that one, for 1, you are getting a 2. But here, for 1, you are getting a 0. So this is the thing that we identified in ternary logics. And this is obvious. If you apply a 2 here, this is on and this is off, you will get a 0. This is same. Let me show you the previous slide again for the convenience. You observe for 1. Okay. For 1, what will happen? The PMOS is on and NMOS is off, so you will get a 2. But in NTA, for 1, the NMOS is on and PMOS is off, you will get a 0. So this is the difference that we found actually. And using these FETs, CNT FETs, we have designed these things. And there is a standard ternary inverter where the input combination is 0, 1, 2, the output is 2, 1, 0. If you see the resistor based inverter, you can easily understand the operation. Okay. For 1 only I will explain, and remaining thing you understand. Let me explain. For input is 1. Let me take this one. For input is 1. What will happen is that it means 0.45. This transistor is on. Because it is only 0.29 only. And this is off. If this transistor is on, what is the output? There is a fixed resistor here. There is a fixed resistor here. It is acting as a potential divided network. So we will get half of the VDD. We will get VDD by 2. Simple. Okay. So for 1, we will get a 1 here for STI. For 0, you will get a VDD. For VDD, this transistor is basically on. So you will get a 0. Not a strong 0. At least you will get a 0 at least. Weak 0 may be considered as 0. So this is about the STA. Using transistors we have placed here, and using the resistor we have placed here, and using the transistors we have placed here. Okay. And this is about the NAND gate. And one person asked me, maybe I remember this one.
Hello.
So what are the different disadvantages of NAND ternary logic? You can see a NAND gate design, how complex it look like this. Okay, here we have to use something like 10 transistors. For a NAND gate design, you have to use a 10 transistors here. But in binary, we are using only a 4 transistor. So the circuit complexity is increased, but the overall size is decreasing, right? So the overall size is decreasing. Still, it will having the better performance, you can say. Okay, this is the structure of NAND gate. You can see. Like this, we have designed the NAND gate using the CNT FETs. Let me go for the next design. I don't want to explain these things. You can understand of your own very easily. Let me move on to the next slide. And this is the OR gate. This is also we have designed. And then this is the half adder that we discussed previously. These equations. Using these equations, we have designed the circuit also. Okay. Let me explain the circuit here. Now we have placed the decoders A and B. For getting the sum, there are 2 combinations. Possibility of getting 2 here. Let me write down a 2. This is the combination of getting 2, and this is the combination of getting 1. Okay. For getting 2, there are 3 combinations we have seen. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Similarly, for getting 1, there are 3 combinations: 1, 2, and 3. Okay. What about this one? This line I will explain only this line. This line is the combination of A2 and B0. So you can write here. So this is the combination of A2 and B0. What it tells you, if the value of A is 2 and B is 0, okay, the sum may be 2. Okay. So using the statements you can see like this. Okay. Or you can check this line. What is this line? This is something like A2 and B2. If A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 2, you may get sum is equal to 1. Okay. So like this also we can understand the operation of half adder. Maybe you may feel difficult by seeing the circuits, but as an expert in digital electronics, these are very simple to you. I hope so. Let me move on to the next slide. I will conclude in 5 minutes. Right? I don't want to take much time. These are the plots that we got from the HSpice. We have used some model files which are there in the online Stanford CNT FET model files. We have simulated these things and we got some results for half adder. That inverters NAND gates I don't want to place this simple thing. That's why I skipped those things. Okay. Let me take this combination. For A is equal to 1 and B equal to 0, the sum is 1. You can say the carry is 0. So the same function we discussed in the table also. Let me take this one. For A equal to 2, B equal to 2, the sum is 1 and carry is 1. Okay. 2 plus 2 means 4 basically. A 4 is written as 1 1 to the base 3. Okay. To the base 3. That's why the sum is 1 and carry is 1. Let me move on to the next slide. So frankly speaking, these CNT based circuits are already there in the literature. So many papers are existed, but as a contribution, my scholars they have taken the reference papers and they have worked a lot, and they have implemented some GNR FIT based ternary logic gates up to 34 slides that I am explaining. Even though they are designed by me, but the reference is basically taken from the literature itself. Okay, they are not our credit actually, but what my students done that they have used some graphene nanoribbon field effect transistor, and they have designed the ternary logic gates. Okay, this is one of the very highlighted thing you can say that we basically worked out. What we have done that this is the figure. Okay, that this figure motivates us to design the ternary logic gates using the CNT fits. Using the GNR fits. So what this figure tells you that there is a band gap between the number of dimer lines. If the dimer lines are multiple of 3p plus 2, this is that one. If the dimer lines are number of multiples of 3p plus 2, the band gap is very small. They are acting as a metal, so they cannot be used for FETs, right? This one we have also seen in the EK diagram. And these two are the possibilities where we can design the FET. Okay, the green one is the multiple of 3p plus 1, and the red one is the multiple of 3p. So using these two combinations, we can design the FETs where it is having some semiconducting nature, where it shows some semiconducting property. And the dots are the simulations done in the ATK software that we are having the software in our college. And the thick lines are simulated using the SPICE. Okay, so both results are exactly matching. The ATK is basically it is a atomic toolkit where we can design the atoms. We can design the GNR FET. We can check the band gap. We can check the threshold voltage. Even electron densities also we can see. Everything can be seen in quantum wise ATK atomic toolkit. So there we have done the simulations basically. So this is a GNR FET, but I have not placed any gate material in order to avoid the confusion. There is a source contact, drain contact here, and there is a channel in between. It is a semiconducting channel. The electrons wants to travel from source to drain. There is a negative terminal here, and there is a positive terminal similar to the CNT FET. They want to travel from source to drain with the help of the CNT channel. Okay, using this channel, we can control the conduction bands. That's it. Okay, so you can see a very interesting thing here. There is a channel here, okay, and there is a source region and there is a drain region. One person asked me previously, so he have seen several papers where they have written that the source and drain regions are same, like n plus, and the channel is replaced by CNT. It is not like that basically. Here you can see the source is something like the atoms are multiple of 11. I have written the 11 also. Okay. Here, the atoms are multiple of 3p plus 2, where it is acting as a metal, 3p plus 2, where p is 3. Here also it is acting as a metal, and this is 7. Okay. So this is a semiconductor. You can see the channel is a semiconductor, and this is a metal, and this is a metal. Like this, we can fabricate the GNR FET. Okay. Or what you will do, you will take a same semiconducting layer, and you will do the doping at the source side, and you will do the doping at the drain side. That is one option. Or you will go to the design like this. You will take 11 number here and 11 number here, which is acting as the metals, and you will take a 7 number here, which is acting as a semiconductor. Either you do this one or you go for the doping. Okay. So like this, we will fabricate the GNR FETs. So you can see the chip which is designed on the graphene. Okay. This one you know very well. They are like vertically stacked manner. These are the transistors and these are the interconnections. Okay. This is the conventional chip. If you design a chip like this, it is having only a single layer, where the interconnections devices all are placed in a single layer. This is one of the best advantages. Okay, the same thing that we found as like CNT FETs, and using these principles, we have designed the ternary logic gates using the GNR FET. Okay, the responses are coming similar to the CNT FET only. You can see the timing response. Input is 0, 1, 2, output is 2 to 0. So it is a PTI basically. Let me move this one. This is a PTI. And next one is input is 0, 1, 2, output is 2, 0, 0. Basically, it is a NTA using GNR FET. This is input 0, 1, 2, output is 2, 1, 0. So it is basically a STA. And finally, we have made some comparison between the CNT FET based ternary logic gates and GNR FET based ternary logic gates. We have seen some improvement here. Okay. So in all the cases, we have seen some improvement, and we submitted this paper to some journal, and still it is under review. We are waiting for the decision. This is one of the work we are working basically. This is one of the area where my people are working. So finally, I want to thanks to my scholars. They have done some appreciable work while preparing these PPTs and while preparing these simulations. I thanks to one and all also for showing interest on my presentation. If you having any queries, you can raise your comment in the chat list. I can address your comments later. Okay, this is the end of the presentation. I will now handling the session to Girish now.
Thank you so much. If you have any queries, please post it, or otherwise raise your hand in the Dropbox. Sir, Praveen sir, please ask.
Sir, Ramesh sir.
Sir, tell me, sir.
Praveen sir, Geetam, Hyderabad.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
సార్ ఏం లేదు సార్, అది ఇంకో డౌట్ ఏంటంటే సార్, అది మీరు ఎస్టీఐ పీటీఐలో డయామీటర్ వాల్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి కదా సార్ ట్రాన్సిస్టర్,
సిఎన్టీ
అది డైరెక్ట్ టెక్నాలజీ ఫైల్ నుంచి తీసుకుంటారా సార్?
లేదు సార్, అది
ఎలా తీసుకుంటారు?
we have to alter that n value in the netlist. In the netlist, basically, if you use a conventional MOSFET, you are having the capability to change the value of W, right?
Yes sir.
Like this also in CNT FET, you are having the capability to change the value of n, where n is related to the diameter.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes sir.
Fine. Okay.
All the participants, please fill the feedback link which is shared in the group chat. Please you can do that. Any other queries? One of the students is asking about, can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
What is the need of K-map? There we can write equations directly from the table.
Only for the simplicity. See, only for the simplicity, where we can clearly see that for carry, you can say we will get only the one combination for 3 different cases. By making the things simple, that's it, right? Using the table, we cannot identify where we are getting a 1, where you are getting a 2 for carry. At one time, you can see a K-map. You can easily write down the equations, right? Is it correct, right? See, in table, we have to check the combinations, each combination. Where the carry is 1, where the carry is 2. It will take some time. For a reader, it will take some time. But if you place a table like that, okay, the eyes will be directly contacted to that area where the carry is having a 1, where the carry is having the value of 2, right? Is it understand? Is it understand or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or let me share the slide also. It is very simple things, sir. Nothing complex. See, first you try to understand the functionality of carry here, okay, and you now you see this table.
3 options are available in the carry.
This is very simple, right? Using this table, you can simply write the equation of carry. Okay, this is only for the user friendly, to make user friendly. That's it. Any more? Any more questions?
Any more questions from the participants? Please raise your hand and I will unmute you. Thank you so much, sir. I hope this session was good and knowledge gainable. I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants of this webinar. So please give your valuable feedback to the link which is provided in the chat box. And certificates will be sent to you sooner. So it will be open for next half an hour. Please do as soon as possible. So hope we will catch you up later again with such programs in the future also. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, Dr. V. Ramesh Kumar, sir, to deliver your lectures and all those things, and to share your knowledge to things and the upcoming paper results also, which you have shown here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, one and all. So can I leave the session?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, every participant, please update the feedback from sir. You will get the certificate. Please do it within half an hour, sir.
Please, sir, close.
Any queries related to the feedback, please post it in my WhatsApp or else in the group. I will be waiting for you next 5 minutes also.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ramesh
sir.
sir and Girish sir. Please conduct some more webinars on this topic, sir, in future.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Try to conduct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. We will share the PPTs later. Some of you people are asking about the PPTs and recording videos. Definitely, we will share it, sir. And we have a mail addresses of all of registered candidates. We can share things. Again, I'm sharing a feedback link. Please go to that.